a Taylor Swift song!
I remember when we broke up the first time.
In September of this year, Taylor Swift finally achieved the one accomplishment that had eluded her throughout her otherwise mega successful music career, a #1 single. In response, Taylor Swift had this to say. And that image has for the most part reflected the public at large's perception of Taylor Swift. Doe-eyed, innocent, perpetually adolescent, unworldly, just an ordinary average teenage girl from a nowhere town strumming her little guitar. I feel safe in saying that, as of a few months ago, that is no longer the case. Taylor, of course, became a major player in the pop world in 2009 with her top-selling, Grammy-winning album, Fearless. Now, I personally was not that impressed with what I heard from that record. I had very little use for You Belong With Me, which was riddled with cliches and had an undercurrent of catty jealousy that made me uncomfortable. I did a whole review of 15, which I thought was half-assed and pretended to wisdom that she couldn't back up. And of course there was Love Story, which was just plain freaking stupid. But all the same, I've always admired the way her persona perfectly evokes the idea of the common, ordinary every girl. Listening to her most famous songs, you would never guess that they were written by one of the most famous and best-selling recording artists alive. Again, that was before these last couple months. After Fearless, Taylor Swift tried to take a turn from the mature with her next album, Speak Now. Where Fearless featured minimal pop collaborators, Speak Now featured none at all. And it didn't do that great. It did okay, didn't change the world. It wasn't nearly as big as the album before. Red, her newest album, goes in the exact opposite direction. It features several big-name pop songwriters and collaborators, including Max Martin, one of the most consistently successful producers of the past 15 years. And the result was a mega blockbuster smash single called We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. Well, what if all I want to do is tell your friends to get with my friends, and we can be friends? We can still be friends, right? I swear to God, if you had told me 6 months ago that this is what the title of Taylor Swift's new single was going to be, I would have thought it was a parody. And I certainly wouldn't have known what to do when I actually listened to it, what with its giant, stomping pop beat, guitars processed beyond recognition, and a big, dumb sing-along chorus, complete with the famous 4 chords of pop. Pop's on chords, they own music, they own the world, they own you. Deal with it. In other words, this is the big pop sellout move. This is Taylor Swift entering the debutante ball of superstardom. I, honestly, this is true, completely forgot, listening to this, that Taylor Swift had ever been considered a country singer. In fact, considering that she's a pretty blonde who straddled the worlds of pop and country, I would say Taylor Swift has been our generation's answer to Olivia Newton-John. And with this new single, she has skipped straight to the physical phase of her career. We have skipped over the Xanadu phase, thankfully. This song is an implicit acknowledgement of how Taylor Swift is not the girl next door anymore. She's a world-famous celebrity with a trail of celebrity boyfriends with broken hearts behind her. And if you need proof, just walk into a CVS, because you will see this month's CoverGirl advertising magazines, perfume, makeup, dental floss, but she's no longer trying to hide the fact that she's gone completely Hollywood. Need I remind you, this is where Taylor Swift started.
He said the way my blue eyes shined, put those Georgia stars to shame that night.
And this is where she is now.
I remember when we broke up the first time, saying this is it, I've had enough. Cause like,
and I can only assume this is what she'll sound like in the future. But despite the radical shift in sound, it's not the sellout that's provided most of the negative critical response to We Are Never Ever Getting Back. Kind of sounds stupid every time I say it. Okay, it's not the sellout that provided most of the negative critical response, it's the subject matter and the tone. In fact, while Taylor's music has only gotten glossier, her lyrics have gotten more mundane. Now, Taylor Swift's music has always stank of crappy middle school diary poetry. I mean, this is a girl who has compared her romances to fairy tales. Many times.
Day was a fairy tale, I wore a dress.
Many, many times.
For you and your white horse.
But We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, in most respects, is defiantly small, The stakes are minimal, the relationship is insignificant, and the message is delivered in the kind of lofty poetic language usually reserved for lunchroom text messages.
Like, ever.
OMG for realsies, BRB. Depending on how you want to look at it, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together is the dumbest song she has ever recorded. Like ever. The video is actually the perfect encapsulation of its bizarre bipolar nature. She's adult enough to be dating a guy who looks like Adam Levine, and yet forces her band to dance around in animal footy pajamas. Taylor Swift seems like she'd suck to work for, by the way. So, this is where we are. Taylor Swift has basically magnified the adolescent lack of sophistication that brought her the most criticism, while completely removing the down-to-earth tone that made that fact excusable. My mind boggles at how she or anyone could have thought that was a good idea. And yet, to my eternal bafflement, I have to say, and you're not gonna believe this, I don't dislike this song. I don't mind it at all. Yeah, believe it or not, this video is not a condemnation of We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. It's a defense of it. I think this song is, not that bad. Yes, I'm giving it my prestigious Not That Bad award. I'm sure she's honored. Yes, we know. Now this is, I realize, going to be a controversial opinion, daring to say that I like one of the most popular things in the country, but I think I'm going to stand by it. So let me launch into my editorial why a song called We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together is actually kind of alright and I don't hate it. Well, let me start with this. If I were to describe We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together in one word, it would be real. Yes, I actually find this shiny, happy pop song far more honest than her country stuff. That's kind of the point of this song, especially that ridiculous phone call in the middle of it.
So he calls me up and he's like, I still love you. And I'm like, I mean, this is exhausting, you know? Like,
It affirms its authenticity, its realness. Now, realness isn't necessarily a positive quality, mind you. I could write a song about the very real fact that I'm out of salsa, but I don't think it would find an audience. Like, there are other reasons, but I think the biggest factor in whether you can stand this song largely depends on whether you think this situation was worth writing about in the first place.
Then you come around again and say, baby, I miss you and I swear I'm gonna change. Trust me, remember how that lasted for a day?
Well, I will acknowledge that this song is kind of stupid, but it's genuinely stupid. It sounds like something someone would actually say. And as a scholar of these things, I can assure you that there is no end of songs out there that are ungenuinely stupid.
I'll be on it too. Everything you said is like go with the view. Business in the front, party in the back.
Then I don't have to try, I just do what I does.
Do what I does. No one says that. Fight the real enemy, is all I'm saying here. Secondly, what I like about the song is how it describes a bad relationship, but not in the same way as most other pop singers who apparently dated Saturday morning cartoon villains.
You think you got the best of me, think you've had the last laugh. You tuned me up and spin me out like I was poison in your mouth.
I don't know anybody who's dated one of the evil, monstrous soul destroyers that pop singers sing about. I've definitely known people who've dated this jack-off, though.
We hadn't seen each other in a month when you said you needed space. What?
This guy didn't try to break anyone down or try to leave anyone crying while having the last laugh or anything. All he did was waste her time and be a whiny ass. That happens. And it's a good positive message. Like, if you're constantly on again, off again, it's probably not meant to be. Do everyone a favor, stop wasting each other's time. You know, if only other pop stars could understand that. Ahem. Another point to mention is that, in addition to the pop makeover, this song also redefines Taylor Swift's persona in other ways. Now, before now, Taylor Swift was largely known for her songs about high school romance and love-struck crushes. Less well known before this single was Taylor Swift, the Verbal Assassin. Yes, Taylor Swift, destroyer of bitchy, mean girls and inadequate men on the level of Beyonce or Adele. She can throw down with the best of them. This is the same songwriter who apparently once made John Mayer cry with her hurtful, hurtful words, and also wrote the definitive Kanye West is a jackass statement and sung it in front of him. Do not piss off Taylor Swift. Anyway, what's great about the song is the way it includes very believable details about what a dick this guy is.
I'm really gonna miss you picking fights, and me falling for it, screaming that I'm right, and you would hide away and find your peace of mind with some indie record that's much cooler than mine.
Ha! I mean, can't you just feel the hipster douche stink coming off this guy? Starting drama and then listening to some shitty hipster music, which is so much cooler than... Okay, you know what, Taylor Swift? That's not fair. You're Taylor Swift. All music is cooler than yours. You could be listening to Raffi and it'd still be cooler than yours. Okay, but ignoring that, I think more than anything I appreciate the song because I believe that what's happening in We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together is an accurate retelling of some version of reality. Now compare that to old Taylor.
She doesn't get your humor like I do.
I couldn't listen to You Belong to Me without imagining how badly she's misinterpreting her crush's relationship. I mean, I bet that cheerleader is actually really nice and really loves him and is uncomfortable with the way that Taylor Swift is subtly trying to sabotage their relationship. Hey, wait a minute. Is that... holy crap, that's Cowpie Clyde! You know, from the Hannah Montana movie. Well, geez, I guess we know who Miss Short Skirt Cheer Captain was. And I thought they were BFFs too. But anyway, the details in We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together are so exact. It just feels true. And I also like how sweetly malevolent she is with this final dumping. Like, not only is she dumping you, she's doing it while on a water slide, apparently. Whee! I'm not making a very good case for this song, am I? Okay, so it's not a particularly artful song. It's not a grand sweeping statement about the human condition or anything. But look, here's what we're getting in return. The biggest song of the year is Call Me Maybe, an empty calorie nothing that tells me nothing new about the world. Nicki Minaj is doing everything she can to remove any speck of personality she ever had. The current number one is from Rihanna, who spent the last 3 albums on autopilot and has been rubber stamping out music at a frenetic pace with absolutely no regard to quality. We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together has flavor to it. It deserves to exist. That doesn't make it as good or interesting as Gautier or even Gangnam Style. I'm not saying We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together is a great pop song. In fact, I only think it's barely a good song, and I've certainly heard better. But at the same time, I've also certainly heard worse. And I can't find much to hate about it. And just look at it this way. At least it's not her next song. Now that's just the worst Taylor Swift song I've ever heard. Like ever. I'm like Todd in the Shadows and I'm like done.
Getting back together.
I'm out of salsa, what do? I can't make nachos without salsa. And I got an itchy leg, oh what an itch on my leg.